I saved for months to buy my dream smart fridge, but less than 24 hours after delivery, it vanished from my kitchen. What happened next exposed a criminal enterprise running right under our noses, and the mastermind's reaction when caught red-handed has the entire internet stunned. The camera opens on me standing in my driveway, gesturing excitedly as I address the audience. "Hey, everyone! You are not going to believe what happened to me last week. I've been saving for months to buy this amazing new smart fridge. You know, one of those stainless steel ones with the touchscreen and cameras that let you see what's inside from your phone. After researching models and waiting for a sale, I finally pulled the trigger and spent $2,200 on my dream appliance from Home Depot. I'm walking through my house now, moving toward the kitchen as I continue my story. The delivery was scheduled for Thursday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I had specifically taken the day off work to be home for this delivery since I live alone and didn't want to miss it. The truck pulled up around 11:30, right on time, and two guys carefully unloaded this massive box containing my beautiful new fridge. They were super professional, quickly set it up in my kitchen, removed my old fridge, and even helped me transfer all my food into the new one before they left. The camera pans around my kitchen as I proudly show off the sleek stainless steel refrigerator, opening its doors to reveal the spacious interior and demonstrating the touchscreen features. After they left, I spent about an hour arranging everything perfectly inside and downloading the app to connect with all the smart features. I sent pictures to my parents and best friend, probably being a bit too excited about a kitchen appliance. But this was my first major home purchase in years, and I was proud of finally being able to afford such a nice upgrade. I looked directly at the camera, my expression turning serious. Little did I know, someone else in my neighborhood had been watching this whole delivery process go down from their window, and they had plans of their own that would turn my excitement into a complete nightmare. The next day, as I walked through my front door, arms full of grocery bags. The next morning, I went to work, as usual, then stopped by the grocery store on my way home to stock up the new fridge with fresh food. I was gone maybe 9 hours total. When I walked in through my front door, groceries in hand, something immediately felt off. The house seemed different somehow, but I couldn't immediately place what was wrong. My face shows genuine shock as I describe the moment of discovery. I walked into my kitchen, flipped on the light, and dropped my grocery bags on the floor. My brand new fridge was gone. Not just moved or unplugged, completely gone. The water line was disconnected and carefully capped off. The space was empty, and there was just this gaping hole where my beautiful new appliance had been standing just hours before. For a moment, I honestly thought I was losing my mind. Did I dream buying a new fridge? No. The delivery paperwork was still on my counter. I checked my bank account on my phone, and there was the $2,200 charge from Home Depot. I'm pacing around my kitchen now, gesturing at the space where the refrigerator should be. I immediately called the police to report the theft. While waiting for them to arrive, I started texting neighbors to see if anyone had noticed anything suspicious. That's when my next-door neighbor, Dave, texted back, saying he'd seen a woman supervising two men loading a fridge into a pickup truck around 2 p.m. He assumed I was returning it for some reason and didn't think much of it. The camera zooms in on my incredulous expression. Before the police even arrived, I was already reviewing footage from my doorbell camera. And there it was, clear as day. A woman I vaguely recognized directing two men who appeared to be professional movers from 3 doors down. They had a dolly and everything, looking completely legitimate as they carefully removed my fridge from my house in broad daylight. The absolute audacity of it all had me seeing red. After filing the police report and showing them the footage, I asked if I could accompany them to the neighbor's house. I recognized her from our neighborhood Facebook group. Her name was Karen Wilson. The officers agreed it would be helpful to have me identify my property if it was there, so we walked the short distance to her house together. My voice becomes more intense as I describe the confrontation. When we reached Karen's house, I immediately spotted a pickup truck in the driveway, the same one from my doorbell footage. The police knocked on the door, and Karen answered wearing this perfect suburban mom outfit, complete with that signature haircut. When the officers explained why they were there, her face went through this incredible transformation from welcoming to outraged in seconds. I'm now demonstrating Karen's reaction, mimicking her exaggerated expressions and hand gestures. She immediately launched into this bizarre tirade, claiming that I was harassing her and that the fridge was hers. She said she had proof of purchase and everything. When one of the officers calmly asked to see this proof, she became even more agitated, saying she didn't have to prove anything to us and that we were trespassing. The whole time, I'm standing there in complete disbelief at the audacity of this woman. The intensity of my storytelling increases. Then, I spotted it through her open door. My unmistakable new fridge sitting in her kitchen, still with the energy guide sticker on the front, that I hadn't removed yet. I pointed it out to the officers, and that's when Karen completely lost it. She stepped between us and the door, pulled out her phone, and to everyone's absolute shock, called 911 while standing in front of two uniformed police officers. I'm now sitting on my couch, shaking my head in disbelief as I continue the story. The 911 call was something else entirely. Karen was practically screaming into her phone that there were fake police officers at her door trying to steal her property. The dispatcher, clearly confused, asked to speak with one of the officers. When Officer Rodriguez took the phone and identified himself with his badge number, you could practically hear the dispatcher's exasperation through the phone. My hands are animated as I describe the scene. While this absurd phone call was happening, the second officer, Officer Chen, noticed something odd about the pickup truck in the driveway. He walked over to inspect it more closely and discovered it had dealer plates. This was getting stranger by the minute. He ran the plates while Officer Rodriguez was dealing with Karen's meltdown, and that's when things took an unexpected turn. The camera zooms in as my expression becomes more serious. It turns out the truck was reported stolen from a local moving company 3 days earlier. Karen had apparently hired these two guys, who weren't professional movers at all, just accomplices, to help with a series of appliance thefts across our neighborhood. My fridge wasn't the first thing she'd stolen. It was just the latest in a string of similar thefts. I leaned forward, speaking confidentially. By this point, Karen was still insisting that the fridge was hers, and that we were all conspiring against her. Officer Rodriguez finally had enough and asked for her consent to check the serial number on the refrigerator. When she refused, they informed her that they would be getting a warrant, and in the meantime would be impounding the stolen truck and taking her in for questioning about that. The scene shows me sipping from a coffee mug, appearing more calm, but still amazed by the events. While Karen was being taken to the police station, officers obtained a warrant to search her house. What they found inside was absolutely mind-blowing. Not only was my refrigerator there, but her garage and basement were filled with appliances, electronics, and furniture that had been reported stolen from all over our county in the past 6 months. I'm now sitting at my kitchen table with my recovered refrigerator visible in the background. According to the detective who later interviewed me, Karen had been running this operation like a business. She would watch for delivery trucks in affluent neighborhoods, take note of when people left for work, and then send her accomplices, often different people she'd hire through shady online channels, to steal the items in broad daylight, making it look like legitimate deliveries or returns. My expression changes to one of amazement. The most shocking part: Karen wasn't even keeping most of these things for herself. She was selling them online through various marketplace accounts under different names. They found spreadsheets on her computer tracking all the thefts, sales, and profits. She had made over $50,000 in the last 6 months alone. And get this, she lived in a nice house and had a good job as an accountant. This wasn't about necessity, it was pure greed. I shake my head in disbelief. The police detective told me that because Karen had been so methodical, keeping records of everything, she handed them a complete confession. The case against her was airtight. They've charged her with multiple counts of grand theft, operating a criminal enterprise, filing a false police report, and a dozen other charges. Her 2 accomplices from that day were quickly identified and arrested as well. The final scene shows me back in my kitchen, leaning against my recovered refrigerator. It's been 2 weeks since this all happened, and I'm still processing it. My fridge was returned the very next day after they documented everything for evidence. Thankfully, it wasn't damaged at all. The police told me I was lucky. Many of the previous victims never saw their stolen items again because they'd already been sold. I opened the refrigerator door, showing it fully stocked and functioning. The whole neighborhood is talking about it, of course. Turns out at least 3 other families on nearby streets had experienced similar thefts, but had just filed insurance claims, never expecting to recover their items. The police are now in the process of reuniting people with their stolen property, though many things had already been sold and shipped to buyers across the country. My expression becomes more reflective. The craziest part of all this is how brazen Karen was. She called 911 on the police, who were investigating her crime. The detective later told me this type of behavior isn't actually that uncommon among people who've gotten away with crimes for a while. They develop this sense of invulnerability and entitlement that clouds their judgment. I moved to my front door, gesturing toward my doorbell camera. The biggest lesson for me in all this: those home security investments are worth every penny. If I hadn't had my doorbell camera, this might have played out very differently. And now I've added some additional security measures, extra cameras, better door locks, and I've even started a neighborhood watch program with some of my neighbors. I smile at the camera for the conclusion. So that's my crazy story of how a Karen stole my fridge, called 911 on the cops, and turned out to be running a criminal enterprise right in our quiet suburban neighborhood. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy real-life stories. And maybe check on your appliances when you get home. You never know who might be eyeing them.